All right, guys, I promise this is the last e-bike review I'm going to do, at least for a little while.
All right, folks, this review is on the Addmotor M-5600. This is a full-size mountain bike with a 60/61 aluminum frame. It's on 26-inch wheels on 4.5-inch fat tires. This bike has a 1,000-watt mid-drive motor that gives out 160 newton meters of torque. It's powered by a 48-volt, 17-amp-hour Samsung lithium battery. It has a 9-speed Shimano derailleur, hydraulic disc brakes. It is estimated to go 60 miles, but that would be under extreme perfect circumstances. Under my real world testing, I've got 86 miles on the bike as it is right now, and I've had to charge it 3 times. So I'm saying it can do about 25 to 30 miles. The bike itself is $3,000. If you want to see a full list of specs, you can check out their website, which is listed in the description of this video. Like the other bikes, this bike came extremely well packaged. I do recommend having some scissors or a knife handy, as there's a lot of zip ties and packaging that will need to be cut and removed away from the parts and pieces. It did come with tools and a paper manual, though I do recommend having your own tool set, as it makes the job much easier. This bike did come with its own bike rack, which is cool. Now, the one thing that was different about this bike is it did not come with a quick release front tire, so you actually bolt the front tire to the forks.
All right, so starting off at the front of the bike, guys, we have 26-inch wheels. These are actually 4.5-inch fat tires. These are Kenda tires. You have hydraulic disc brakes on this bike and a front suspension. You have a Schrader valve at the bottom of this fork, and then you have a adjustment here on the right side of the fork on the top, and also an adjustment on the bottom of the fork. So you got a lot of adjustability in the front shocks to get them tuned just the way you want. You actually have a metal fender. This is metal, not chintzy plastic. You have your front light, and then starting up at the handlebars on your right side, you have a twist throttle. You have your rear brake. You have your controls for your 9-speed derailleur. Down the center here, you've got a really nice display, big display. You have your controls on the left side that allow you to turn the bike on, change the assist level, and also change other settings that are on the bike. You have your front brake control for your hydraulic front brakes here. On the neck, you actually have an adjustable neck, so you can tilt the handlebars up or down and get the bike to fit you just the way you want. You have a heavy-duty 60/61 aluminum frame. This frame is very stout. You have your 14-volt, 17-amp-hour lithium Samsung battery here. You also have your key switch, which again, this isn't for starting the bike. This is just for removing the battery and stowing it away. The big thing about this bike is it is a mid-mount motor. So you have your Bafang 1,000 watt-hour motor here, and then you got your crankset, your adjustable seat. This bike did come with a rear basket. It's very heavy duty. Again, metal fenders on that. Your 4.5-inch fat tire on the back on 26-inch wheels. Your 9-speed derailleur in the back. And again, the last but not least is your hydraulic rear brake. All right, guys, so let's talk about the pros on this bike. And there's actually quite a few when it comes to this one. This bike is just straight away way more heavy duty and strong than the other bikes that I have reviewed. The sprocket on this one is stout. I don't have any concerns about it. The crankset on it, the handlebars and the controls, I love. It's got the similar grips to the Snap Cycle, which I really liked. You've got a big display that you can read, and my favorite thing is you actually have a twist throttle, which is far more intuitive than the thumb throttle on the last bike I reviewed. I never really had a problem with the mechanical brakes, but this one has the hydraulic brakes, and those are really nice. This bike stops very nice. So yeah, nice upgrade. You know, everything, like I said, is just more stout. Even the rotors on the disc just feel thicker and more stout than what was on the last bikes. You've got this metal fender, which is way better. I mean, I just tore off the plastic ones that were on the other bike because they were chintzy. But you got this metal fender. But the thing that really is a plus on this bike to me is this 1,000 watt-hour mid-drive motor. Having the motor in the mid-drive allows you to take advantage of the gearing of the bike. The hub motors, you can't really take advantage of the gearing. The gearing is just going to help you when you're pedaling, but it can't help the motor at all. So with the mid-drive motor, the motor's getting assisted by, you know, can utilize the gearing. You can get more torque out of this motor. I mean, this thing will just climb hills and make it very easy on the riders. And this bike also, like I said, one of the things that I really liked that the Snap Cycle had, it came with a rear bike rack, and this one came with that as well. So just a lot of positives on this bike. I just really have enjoyed riding this bike. It's just a great bike. All right, guys, on the flip side, there always are a couple cons when it comes to these bikes. Now, in this particular one, the first con to me is the overall price of this bike. It's $3,000. Now, when you compare this bike and the features it has to other bikes on the market, especially the name brand ones, this bike is still very low priced compared to those bikes. But when I think about in 1990, when I used to race motocross and I could buy a brand new YZ 125 for well less than what this bike costs, it just seems like a lot of money to me. But if you do compare this bike to the Quiet Cat, which I do feel like this bike is equipped very well to compete with that bike, this bike is half as much money as the Quiet Cat. So you have to keep that in consideration. The other major con to me with this bike is its overall weight. Now, I tried to look on the website and find a spec on there that said how much this bike weighs, and I couldn't find anything, but I would venture to guess this bike almost weighs twice as much as the other two bikes that I reviewed. I would say, you know, the frame is stouter, you know, everything about the bike is stouter, and with that, the trade-off comes weight. It is heavy. To the point, if you're going to haul this bike places and you're planning on using like a regular bike carrier, you're going to have to make sure it's very stout because this is going to put a lot of stress on it. To the point that I broke my rear swing out on my bumper trying to carry this bike. So you're going to have to think about that if you want to haul it places. You're almost, in my mind, you're going to want to have like a legit motorcycle carrier to be able to take this bike places. So the other thing that I wish this bike had was rear suspension. Now, again, in the price range that this bike is in compared to other bikes out there, you know, I don't see bikes in this price range with rear suspension, but it really would be nice. Now, one little tip is if you air down these big 4.5-inch fat tires a little bit, you can get this bike to ride really nice. Do be careful though, if you air them down too much, you can get a blowout. We did that in Arizona. Me and David, I had them aired down pretty low, and David hit a rock a little bit too hard and blew out the tube. All right, so like I said at the beginning of the video, this is going to be my last e-bike review for a while. I really like this particular bike. I like the controls on it. I really love this mid-drive motor and the advantage it gives you climbing hills and in varied terrain. And I really like these 4.5-inch fat tires. Half-inch more doesn't seem like a lot over the 4-inch ones, but it really does make a difference when you're in some varied terrain. So overall, this bike is my favorite out of the three that I've ridden, and I'm going to stick with this one. Not a super fan of how heavy it is, and I'm trying to work out how I can carry it more conveniently, but I'll work that out and make it work for me. I do wish it had rear suspension, but like I said, I can air down the tires a little bit and get a pretty supple ride that away. So anyways, guys, this is the Addmotor M-5600. If you guys are interested in this bike, there will be a link down in the description and you can check it out. If you guys found something useful in this video, please do give it a like. If you have any comments or questions, leave those down below, and I'll catch you guys again outside.